Very much. And before I start the panel discussion, I would definitely like to thank the Honorable Minister, Mr. Rudy, for such a wonderful and inspiring speech. I wish we had had a full session because, sir, there are only 33 million people who work in retail who need to be skilled. But there are 8 million known retailers. And if we add the other retailers also who are not actually listed, India has between 10 to 12 million retailers, and these are small shops between 80 square feet to 350 square feet or 400 square feet. And these are all entrepreneurs who definitely require the kind of leadership that your ministry can bring in. Because I believe without them, we cannot deliver the kind of customer service or consumption that we want to deliver in this country. And without consumption, I don't think the country will grow. So for that 7 to 8% GDP, it requires consumption to happen, and consumption, these are the real sutras for us to deliver that. So I would look forward to your next visit when we will talk about entrepreneurship. I just want to start this with a few stories. A Domino's pizza delivery boy reaches a home and realizes that nobody is opening the door. The reason was the only person inside the house had collapsed with an asthmatic attack. When he calls up the person who ordered the pizza, he says, "Can you please go inside and help? Looks like my mom has fallen ill." He says, "I'll go inside, but only if you don't hang off the telephone line, because my standard operating procedure does not allow me to enter households." He keeps the line on, goes inside, and finds this lady who's collapsed because of her asthmatic attack. He ensures that she recuperates, takes her to the hospital, ensures that the son comes there, delivers the pizza to the son, and collects the money and comes back without hanging the phone off. This is an ordinary 7,500, 8,000 rupees earning employee of a pizza retailer. Now, we wonder, saying, what makes people do things like this? Or a villager in Himachal Pradesh can afford a treadmill of 26,000 rupees, but there's nobody who's willing to deliver the treadmill to his village because the cost of delivery of treadmill is between 6,000 to 8,000 rupees. And here is a young entrepreneurial sales associate in Ludhiana, in Amritsar, who actually decides that I can deliver the treadmill in 100 rupees. He goes to the Himachal State Tourism Bus Corporation and says that if I load something on top of the bus, do I require to travel with the bus? He says there's no need. Somebody who takes the luggage from the top, does he require a receipt? He says, I don't require. So what he does is, he just takes a ticket of 160, loads the treadmill on top of the bus, WhatsApp the receipt to the customer there, the customer goes to the bus station and unloads the treadmill. At 26,000 rupees treadmill, delivered to a village in 160 rupees versus the normal logistics cost of delivering a machine, which is 6,000 rupees. It's a very rich village, and then he gets an order of 16 machines, which he delivers to the same village in the same mode. This, I think, is an associate in retail stores. So, ladies and gentlemen, when we actually started getting these kind of stories as part of our Trust Award, we said, can we actually go deeper into the background of our retail associates and find out what makes them achieve this kind of extraordinary service delivering thoughts and attitude. So along with EMEA, Vikas is here with me, we actually went and researched 60 of the winners. I told you only 2 stories, but there are 9,000 stories like this. We went to the 60 of these winners' house, met them, met their families, their friends, looked at the living environment. And the report which the Honorable Minister has released today is actually about going into the lives of these people to say, what can we do? Because skilling is one thing, attitude is something else. And the ability to serve comes from the traits of attitude and skill put together. So how do you really look at this attitude? Can you harness the skills? Can you really develop the attitude? Can you look at the attitude and the traits when you're actually selecting people? I think this is some of the thoughts that have gone behind into this report. So before I start the panel, I would ask Vikas, who's been partner in this development of the report, because our dream is not to end with this report. Our dream is we release the report today with some of you and some of the panelists sitting here. We want to really develop a tool, an HR tool, to look at two processes. While recruiting, can you find out the traits of the individuals which can make service a great part of our industry? It's not just about selling a material, it's about how to do exemplary service. Second is to find out that can the tool help people look at the people who are currently working in the organization and help them grow, because it's just not skilling them to get them job, but we also have to give them career option. These are the two objectives that we have when we want to develop a HR tool as we go forward. And I would ask Vikas, maybe you would like to comment on a few things that we discovered as we moved into the journey of delivering this report.
Sure, thanks, Nagesh. Can you hear me?
See if it's on. Just.
Thanks. So, I was privileged and honored to be part of the jury in one of these, one of these selections every year that Trane goes through. And that's where some of these ideas were born when we collaborated, where it was heart-wrenching to see, what these simple retail associates actually do on a day-to-day basis and how they go far beyond the call of their duty. To deliver a service that some of us, can't even imagine that somebody can put themselves out, voluntarily for no direct benefit. So we went into a study where we talked to, hundreds of these, selected 60 of them, went and spent days with their family at their homes and tried to understand what motivates them, right? What made them tick, what made them do what they did. And we found a bunch of different things which were very insightful into going out and developing, a case study or a framework that we can leverage going forward. But I'll just talk about 2 or 3 key highlights that I thought were very interesting. One, that the social context that they come from and they operate in are extremely important to them and their experiences. So most of them, are these tier 2, tier 3 village kids, humble backgrounds, have gone through a difficult childhood, and instead of that being sort of stressful, that actually has, they've taken it in a positive. They've actually used that as motivation to come out of their background and prove something to themselves, their family, and even their village, that they're made of a metal that can go out and perform. So those experiences have shaped some of the values that govern them today. Also, they're very highly family oriented. So they work these long hours, they toil all of this time on weekends and nights when all of us are actually off. They're in the store working, essentially for their family. So what they value a lot is the engagement with the family. They consult with them on every large decision. They actually treat this as an integral part of their lives. So that entire social context is what actually drives them. The second thing that I'd like to highlight is that they have an intrinsic feeling of reciprocity. So they actually believe, as we say, ki koi ka namak khaya hai, so you need to return, you need to give something back. Customer aaya hai, you don't just serve him a product, you don't just give him what he's come to deliver, you give him great customer service. This is their intrinsic belief, and this is what drives them to do what they do. And I think that's just the inherent goodness that each one of us actually has, but needs to get tapped and needs to get sort of brought out. And the third is the environment in which they function, right? Which is where our framework comes in. What can we do as retailers to actually bring some of these qualities out, to train and harness more and more of these people? So what they exhibited was a need for a balance of rewards and recognition. Now what happens is, as culture across organizations, some of us are more rewards driven and we give people incentives and plans and all of that. And some of us are more recognition driven, and we'll put names up, we'll put plaques up, we won't necessarily reward them monetarily. There is a fine line and a delicate balance between the two, right? So can you give them the monetary rewards that they need because they come from backgrounds that cash is valuable? But can you also tap into the recognition and use their stories to actually go out and influence and engage a much larger population around them. They do come out and become heroes once they get rewarded by train, and Nagesh can tell you more about that. And how do you actually tap into that? That goes much longer ways than in actually pure monetary rewards. And finally, time is a very important reward that they seek. So, because they're all working through holidays and festivals when the rest of the world and the rest of us is off, they don't get time with their family. So that's a catch-22 because you need them to be there in the stores. But if you can somehow come up with a creative way to give them back time, that's another very interesting motivation and environment
that's very interesting. In fact, since the Honorable Minister is also here, I thought I should also talk about this part and then come to Venkat. So one of the biggest things that we realized is we're all trying to skill people and bring them into the mainstream. What can we do to give them the pride and respect? Because if I go and take up a job in a shop, okay, and go back and tell, hey, I've got a job in my shop, okay, will the family and society say, hey, wonderful, you've got a job in the shop? Or will they say, oh, dukaan mein kaam kar raha tu? So I think one of the important things that the skill councils, all the skill councils put together under your ministry, should also be able to say, you are a plumber, fantastic, what a job you have. We go internationally, and when a plumber comes into our house, the first thing we offer is a cup of coffee, okay? And not ask him to say, oh, where's your dirty shoe? So what can we do at an industry level, at a nation level, to say that the people who are getting into the skill and bringing them into the mainstream, how do we ensure that the industry and the society recognizes them? I think this is very, very critical. Venkat, I just want to come to you. You have businesses in India and you have businesses in the Gulf. And you have maybe 30, 40,000, 50,000 people or more than that working all across. How important is this retail associate in our whole industry?